All right, good morning, everybody. We're going to continue on with our project today. Um, and as it says, we'll continue on. Tomorrow will be a lab day. So these are just reminders. I'm not going to read any of them, but please be cognizant of everything that's in there. We've gone over the ePortfolio stuff already. We should finish up the React project probably Tuesday. And the rest of the stuff hopefully just makes sense. So what I'm going to do is bring up the project from where we were yesterday and just continue on. So this is where we left it off yesterday. And if I run npm start and hit enter, all right, and we click save students, we bring up our students, we can add a student, etc. This is where we went, where we got to yesterday. What we're going to do today then is first, we're going to take a look at how to pretty this up a little bit. And we're going to do that by making a couple changes in one of the CSS files. All right. Then next, we're going to talk about, we're going to add another field in here that we don't currently have. And that field is graduation year. If you're saying, well, why would you have that? You'll understand once we add it, we go and talk about why we're doing this. All right. Finally, we're going to provide search capability. Now, we'll only have 10 students right now, but imagine this was Reagan and you wanted to look for a student. So we'll be able to search by first name and or last name and or graduation year. All right, so that's what we've got going on today. So the first thing that I'm going to do, again, if we look at the run here and I make this smaller, you'll notice these pictures are still pretty big. They're not terrible, but they're still pretty big. Plus the stuff here kind of looks bad too. So we're going to fix that up a little bit. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do, like we did yesterday, I'm going to take this ID that's here and I'm going to comment that out. We really don't need to be printing that. All right. So if I save that and we look at it now, there's only 3 fields, but still, when we make it smaller, it doesn't look very nice. So we're going to fix that right now. How are we going to do that? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our index.css file. All right. And really, there's almost, everything that's in here is all stuff that was given to us by React. In other words, these are system things that were set up for us. But I'm going to add a little bit in here. In particular, I'm going to say image, and I'm going to set a max width for the image and make it about, I don't know, 300 pixels. If we have to, we can make it even smaller, but let's look at that. All right, now when we come over here, doesn't really look any different, but I guess it made it a little smaller here, but not a whole heck of a lot. Let's try taking it down to 200. All right. And still isn't changing it too much, but let's see. Nope. It's actually at a place where it's not terrible right now. So we'll just go on. All right. Now, I don't like the way this looks. And what I mean is this could be centered, it could be bolded, etc., which I think would make it look nicer. All right. How do we do that? Well, first of all, let's go into the image tag here. All right. And when I say the image tag in our app.js, all right, this is where we're showing all of those images. Right there. Okay. All right, let's go and add in here. We've got some classes right now. We've got image fluid in there. If I remove that image fluid class, it's going to look a lot different. The pictures will be a lot bigger. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this and I'm going to write in here. And let's see what this did. All right, doesn't really look much different here. All right, doesn't really look much different there. But what we did was we added bootstrap classes in here. All right. Previously, what I did, I was adding regular classes that were not bootstrap classes. All right. Is that a big thing? The answer is no. But I just wanted you to see that. All right. Now, is there anything else that we're going to change? Yes. All right. And that is what we're going to add in here for each one of these things that we're printing out: the first name, the last name, and the email. Right now, it says list group item, okay? And we're going to add to each one of those in here, we're going to add another class. So we're going to add text center. All right, let me save this and let's go take a look now. All right, let's make it big. And you see everything is centered now. Again, is that bigger? You can draw your own determination as to whether or not it is. The other thing we could do, and I don't know if this will look better or not, but we could come in here and also say FW bold, which means I'm going to bold everything that's in there. All right. Again, is that better or worse? Draw your own conclusions, but I'm going to leave it like that. Okay. All right. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to give every one of these students a graduation date. And the reason we're going to give them a graduation date is later on today, we're going to be able to search for students by graduation date. In other words, if I want to see everyone who's going to graduate in 2023, I could put that in there as search criteria and it'll give me just those people. All right. And why would we do that? Well, what this is going to allow us to do in here, we're going to have another field. We currently have first name, last name, email, but we're going to add in here basically graduation year. And that's going to be put in as a drop down list. So we're going to be able to see how to incorporate a drop down list into what we're working on. All right. Okay. So what we're going to do then is a couple things. First of all, let's go back to our code. All right. And when you look in here, you'll notice that right now we don't have a graduation year. There is none in here. All right. They're all missing a graduation year. So we can go in there and add them. And I'm just making these up. There's nothing special about what I'm doing here. All right. But I'm going to put here grad year. All right. And we'll put in 2020. Okay. Just like that. And I'm going to put in a couple of those. And then I'm going to come in and put in a couple 2021s. And then I'll put in a couple 2022s, a couple 2023s, and a couple 2024s. All right. So again, the reason that we're doing this is we want to be able to add another field to these people. Now, a couple things. When you look in here, all right, and we come in and we go down, where are we here? All right, we've got first name, we've got last name, We've got email, but what don't we have? We don't have the graduation year. All right. So let's copy this and I'm going to add that in here as student dot grad year. All right. So we now, hopefully at least, are going to have a graduation in for each one of these people. So file, save all, and let's look at it. All right. And it's not showing. Okay. We'll fix it. There is a place for it. It's hard to tell, but it's down here. But we're just missing a line of code. That's fine. We're going to add it. You can see it here. That's where it's supposed to be. All right. But it's not in there yet. All right. So let's figure out why. So we've got our LI in here, student. Okay. We don't really need a comma there, but that's not going to hurt anything putting a comma in there. All right. Let's go in here and look. First of all, let's look at our add student. Well, you notice that we have all of these first name, set first name, set last name, etc. So we're going to need another one of those. So this will be grad year and set grad year. All right, so that'll fix that. All right. Its name, email. We're gonna have to make this one smaller, this last one. I'm gonna make this 2 right there. And I'm gonna grab everything we had here for the email address, everything. And I'm gonna copy it down and put it in here so we can have the grad year. But I'll have to change all these. So this will be TXT grad year. All right, we'll call this graduation year. All right, this will be text. This will be TXT grad year. We'll just put the current year in here as a placeholder. And the value will be grad year. All right. So let's do a file, save all. And I'm trying to figure out why it's not showing us our grad year. It's here. All right, but it's not showing it to us here. So I'm missing it someplace. And for the life of me right now, I can't figure out where. So I'm going to go back and look again. The system put the commas back in, so I'll just leave them there. Grad year, grad year, grad year. They all have one. This is where we're showing it. Student.grad year. Why would it not be showing? Again, I'm looking to see if I'm missing anything here. Grad year. That's all correct. There's nothing in there that should be keeping that from showing. Oh, goodness. This one's working here because it's showing when we attempt to add a new student, but it's not showing the graduation year. Let's go in and add a new student. So I'm going to come in here and say John Doe, John Doe at gmail.com. We'll say that John will graduate in 2024. Okay, it's not letting us come in here and type anything. So this is not right either. All right, but I will come in and see. It shouldn't have broken anything, but what I should be able to do now is to bring in another student. And you notice I can. All right, the email address got goofed up, but let's try to change that to all right. So that isn't the problem. Everything else is working. Why? We've got the empty area in here and we're not able to put that in here. Boy, oh boy. I don't know. I looked at this before and everything looked like it was fine. Let me go back through my notes. So far, what we've done, or what we're attempting to do, is to come in here and add something new. Now it's gray because for whatever reason, this isn't working. We got grad year. It is grad year here, but the set, maybe that's it. The set is never being called. All right, so let's look. But I shouldn't have to call set grad year because that's happening when we're creating a new student, set all students. That's all correct. Well, I'll tell you what we're gonna do is we're gonna go on and I'll have to figure out what the problem is and then let you know, even if it's on Monday, I'll let you know. That's not a problem, really. All right. But what we want to do, okay, is like I said, we came in here and we added a new React hook that right now isn't working, as you can tell. All right. Our new React hook was in our add student, we had a new React hook in there. All right. But like I said, for whatever reason, that is not working. All right. So let's go. We also went back into here. This is, I liken this to a form because this is where we're printing everything out. And we tried to put in that new field, but it's not taking. All right. Well, that's not good, but that's where we are right now. Okay. Um, let's see. Well, where we are specifying all those in here, label, input, txt grad year, type is text. Everything that's in there is correct. Not set email. That would be set grad year. All right, that's part of the problem. Okay. So that's the first thing. Let's go back. All right, we've added it here. So that's good. Still is not showing our graduation year. Can I write it in here now? Yes, I can. So that part was working. So again, if I say John, let's make it John Smith. I can give John a graduation year. So that part's working. But I have absolutely no idea why the rest of it isn't. Right? But now his came in. See that? So on the ad, it's working. So I'm missing a line of code someplace to bring this in. We're going to fix it. So don't worry about it. All right. Now, what we want to be able to do is, again, we want to do what's called an additive search. What I mean is we want to be able to come down here and we're going to create something down in here underneath this that's going to allow us to come in and search for things. All right. And what I mean is, all right, then down here, we're going to be able to have like the equivalent of like a search box where you'll tell them to enter a first name or a last name. Then we'll have a drop down list. Oh, notice, look what happened. They're all back. All I had to do was refresh. All right. So it is working. Good deal. All right. But what we want to be able to do is search. So if I put in there, for example, Vivia, this one comes up. If I put in 2020, then Addie and Joella both come up. If I put in both Vivia and 2020, then these three should come up. All right. And there's different ways that this can be done, as you might guess. So again, there are different ways to do this. I'm going to show you the way that we're going to do it right now. All right. So let's come back to our code here. All right. Now, after our seed data, which ends here, right now, we've got an add student, and that's all we have. All right. Well, what we eventually want to have in here, if you're coding along, don't code this in, but we eventually want a const, maybe like a remove student, and we'll put some code there. And then we're going to have a const update student, etc. Well, what we care about in this lecture is we want to add a new thing in here. And this new thing that we're going to add is we're going to be able to come in and search for a student. It could be students. So when we do a search, we could be searching for one person. We could be searching for multiple people. And it really doesn't matter whether it's one or whether it's many. But I just want to make sure that you understand that that's what we're doing here is, or that's what we're about to do, is we're going to search. Now, in our students right here, if we add a student, what were we doing? We were grabbing a new student and adding him or her to the end of all students. And then we were updating our students by calling set all students. Okay. What I want you to understand though is when we're searching, typically we're not going to get back everybody. We're only going to be getting back some of the students. It could be one, it could be more, depending on what we put in for a search criteria. All right. So what we're going to do first is we're going to come back up here where we have our React hooks. All right. So what we want to do here is we want to actually add some more to what's here. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to do this. We've got this right now, and I'm going to add here Yeah, we'll just make it one word. All right, so what the heck is this? This is going to be the results of when we go in and search for a student. If I search for a student named Jeff and there was no student named Jeff, it should come back as empty. All right. If I'm in there in that list of students and you search for Jeff, it should find me. So the search results can be either null, meaning there's nothing that matched the criteria. All right. Or we could have one student returned, or we could have many students returned. All right. This is going to become an array every time we put in a search term. So if I put in Jeff, it's going to be added to keywords. If I put in a year like 2025 or whatever, that's going to be added to keywords. All right. So this is what we're going to do in here. All right. Now, after the seed data that's in here right now, we have this. We have the ability to come in and add a student. Okay, nothing big there. So we've got the ability to add a student. I'm going to write another routine here that's going to be called save students. All right. So it's going to be called save students. It's going to get in our list of students. And what it's going to do is it's going to save them. All right. Now, again, what the heck am I even talking about here? All right. Well, I'm going to put this in here right now. Okay. Now, in English, what lines 98 through 102 are doing in English is they're saying that whenever we call this, we're going to be passing in our list of students. That entire list of students will now be set in set all students. It already is. But when we first start, we're also going to take our search results and set it to everybody. Then later, we're going to run another map function like we did the other day. And we're going to come in and basically start to make some changes. We're going to do that next in just a few minutes. All right. But I want to make sure we haven't broken anything. Okay. So they're all there. We've got everything, including the graduation year. And we should again be able to come in there and add a new student. All right. All right. So again, everything is working right now. We haven't broken anything. We've added a few things, but we haven't broken what was there. That's good. All right. So in our app.js, when we came in here, all right, this says all students and this says all students. All right. Now we're going to want to change this. All right. And we're going to change this from all students right here to search results. right? And what this is going to do is it's still going to call in the end here, it's still going to do what we wanted it. Hopefully, it's going to do what we wanted it to do. All right. And we're still mapping and we're still mapping with students. All right. Now, somewhere down towards the bottom here, I thought we put a button in here, right? We got the ID, we got everything else. Let's see. There's our button right there. So let's double check. We've got a button for set all students. Let's see if we got a button for save students. There it is. Okay. So we've got this button in here right now. Okay. Now, this button currently says on click, set all students, save students. All right. And maybe I changed it already. I don't know. But we want this to say set all students. Okay. Under this new function that we just wrote here, the one I just put in, save students, this one right here, we're going to create another function. All right. And that function will be called search students. All right. And we'll continue on, but I do want you to understand, what are these functions doing? This is saving everything we have, both to all students and to search results. This is allowing us to add a new student. This will be allowing us to actually go in and search for a student. All right. Okay. So we can start putting our code in here, and I'll start it right now. So in this search students, we're going to start out by creating an empty array. This is going to hold every time we type something into our search area for either a first name or a last name or a year they graduated, it's going to add that entry to keywords. All right. Now, it's going to make this array. All right. But what we want to do is we're going to have to compare. So, in other words, when you look at this, okay, if we come in here right there, if let's say we were going to do a search for Joella, like you see right there, we have to make sure that the Joella that we put in and the Joella that's here match. So you say, well, that's not hard, capital Joella. That's one way we could do it. But what if I put in a new student, like we had Mary Green here? What if I had put in Mary and she had a lowercase m? Then this wouldn't work. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare whatever we put in here with whatever is in here, but we're going to change the case on both of them when we compare them. We could make them both uppercase or both lowercase. In other words, we want to compare apples with apples. Because if we come in and do something like this, so if we come in and do this, and we come in and we compare, for example, Joella, like you see right here, and we compare that with Joella, that's going to come back as false. It doesn't match. So what we'll do, I mean, what if the user comes in and adds a new person and puts it in like that? Again, it won't match. So what we're going to do is take both what's in here and what the user puts in if they're putting in a new student or a new search, and we're going to make them both lowercase. So we're going to be comparing this with this, and now indeed they will match. All right. Now, what if the user comes in and says, um, they're doing a search. So they come in and they type in Vivia. All right. Then they remove from Vivia from there again, but they click a button. All right. So in other words, if they put in no criteria, no first name, no last name, no year graduated, and they click a button, all right, and they click that button to search, it should show everybody because we put in no criteria. Why am I telling you that? Because we need to account for that in our code. So if there are keywords, so if we have done at least one search, all right, if we have done at least one search, we want to take what's in that array. And what we're doing is we're building it up as a bunch of strings. And each string that we build up is going to have a blank space in between it. So again, let's suppose that I went in there and I put in that I wanted to do a search. All right. And I put in there this. I put in Joella Jones and 1919, 2024. It's going to search for three things. It's going to search to see if anything matches that. It's going to search to see if anything matches that. And it's going to search to see if anything matches that. And it's going to return either zero things, one thing, two things, or more things. All right. So what happens is this is a big string. This is right now what keywords is. It's this big string. And if I make another search and I come in again and I put in Jeff and Scott and 2022, now this is what's going to be in that big string. But I don't want to work with it in a string. I want to put this into an array. So in other words, I want to change this. So this becomes, so this is keywords right here. All right, that's what keywords is equal to. But I've got a keywords array. And what I want that to be equal to, all right, is, so this is going to be an array. This is just a variable. All right, I'm going to copy this. All right. And what we want to have happen is in keywords 0, we want that to hold Joella. In keywords 1, we want that to hold Jones. All right. And I'm not going to keep going, but hopefully you get the idea. Keywords 2 would be 2024. Keywords 3 would be Jeff. Keywords array 4 would be Scott. Keywords array 5 would be 2022. All right. But what we want to do then is convert this into this. How do we do that? It's pretty simple, actually. We come in here and say keywords array equal our keywords dot two lowercase dot split. And we're going to split this on the blank space. So again, I tried to show you that in a picture, but that right there is taking this and it's converting it to this. I'm going to put the whole thing in here anyway. Actually, it is putting it in as a string. So you might look at that and say, well, wait a minute. Why do you have double quotes here and you don't have them there? Technically, we have them here. This looks like this. So what we're doing in the line of code I just showed you right here, all right, is we are converting this into this. And you might say, okay, fine. Why do you want to do that? because we want to be able to deal with this thing as one entity, as one thing that has a bunch of different parts to it. So that's what we're going to do as we go on in here. All right. So we've got this so far. That's all we've got in here is this if statement and this let. So let's go on. No pun intended. Well, what does this mean? This means that there's something in the array, which means there was one or more keywords that were set. All right. So if the array length is greater than 0, then what we want to do, that means that when we come in here and search, that means that we put in something that we want to search for. All right. So this is going to look a little ugly. Sorry. We'll go over it all in just a second. All right. Right now, let's not even worry. We'll add later the capability to search for a graduation year. But for now, let's just look at the first name and last name. All right. In English, what this code is saying here, we're not done yet, but we're telling it to loop through the entire keywords array. And then we're saying, hey, now look through our students. If we have a student with that first name, or we have a student with that last name, then we've got a match. All right, so we can return true. So again, it's like if we put Vivia in there, it's going to find a match on the first name. If I grabbed one of those last names, like Abish right there, if I put that in, that's going to match here. So I'll return true. If I go through my entire list and there is no match, all right, so we've gone through the whole thing, there is no match, then we want to return false. So if we hit this, we put in a search that has a student that matches. If we don't, and we get down here, we put in something for which there is no match. All right, and that was this. That's this big if that ends right here. All right. Otherwise, again, if this is the case, that means that there's something in our keywords. But if we get down to here now and we write an else, that means there are no keywords. So we want to show everything. We want to show every student that we have. Okay. So what we want to do here, all right, right in here, right before the else. So right here, if this is the case, we want to set our search results. If this is the case, we want to show everybody. Now, these look very similar to one another, but notice they're different. They're both calling set search results, but here we're passing either our student or nothing. Here we're passing everybody. All right. And it's very important that you understand that. All right. Now, as of right now, it probably hasn't made much of any sense because when we do this, come on, no, what are you doing? Oh my goodness, I broke it somehow, but we're going to fix it in a minute. But right now, we don't have anything underneath here that is allowing us to do a search. What do I mean? Well, we've got this up here, down here, whatever. We've got this that's allowing us to do some work. All right. But all that's doing is showing us everybody. We don't want that. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to come in here. All right. And add a little bit more stuff in here. So under this app students, right here, underneath this, right there, we're going to add some more stuff in here. All right. So I'm going to put this in right now. Okay. What we're doing right now is we're building the graphical user interface for us to be able to go in and make a search. All right. We put the code in to allow us to do the search, but it's not going to show anything. Ideally, when we get done with this, it will, but we'll see in a moment. All right. This in just a minute, hopefully, we're starting to build the GUI here. And what this is going to do is it's going to put in a label that says search by first name or last name, and then it should have a text box under it. Let's see if that even works. All right, there it is. Search by first name or last name. All right, we're going to have that, and then we're going to have more stuff after that. All right, I'll probably end up moving that down underneath this, but it's no big thing one way or the other right now. All I have to do is grab this line that says add student and move that up above this. Now I should have changed the order of the two. That's what I want. So this is going to allow me to come in there and search for somebody's first name or their last name. So that's first thing we want to put in here. All right. So we have that. That's right here. Okay. So that's, like I said, that's the first one, but we're going to have more. Now, what this is supposed to do is right next to where we just had first name or last name. This should make a drop down list that right now is empty, other than it says select grad year on it. So let's see if that works. So there it is. So ideally, what we're going to be able to do is come in here and enter someone's first name or last name, or even part of a first name or part of a last name. Then what we're going to do here is we're going to have this be filled in for us. All right, we'll do that in just a bit, but it'll fill in all of the current graduation years. 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. And if we come in and add a new student and we say that his or her graduation year is going to be 2025, then we want to add that to our drop-down list as well. All right, so we're building it. This is our interface. All right, so far, we've again put in first name, last name, and we put in the graduation year. Well, we need one more thing in here. So there's our interface. All right. We've got a label here. I'll put another label here so these line up a little bit better. All right. And then we're going to have our search. All right. Right now, it's not finished. That's why we're getting that error. We're going to add some code to it after the break in just a bit. Oops. Okay. All right. But the idea is we have now built our interface. All right, this is going to be our interface that will allow us to search for a student either by first name, last name, or as we said. All right, so we've got our search by first name. Let's put another label in here. have this one say, search by graduation year. All right. And when we look at that one, so we just added this right here. And again, we can center these if we want. There's no big thing right there. All right. And we should find a way to move the button down a little bit. Maybe I could come in with CSS and add some margin or padding there, or just try to put in a couple line breaks to see if I can move that down, or just leave it the way it is. All right. Okay. It is 9:01 right now. When we come back, we're going to take a break. When we come back, the first thing I'm going to do is review everything that we've done, and then we're going to go on. It is 9:01. Please come back at 9:15. All right, so it's 9:15. Let's quickly go over what we've done so far today. All right. One thing we did was we came in and we added two additional React hooks in our app.js file. This is going to be the results of our search. All right. So we want to be able to search eventually by either first name or last name or um, year of graduation or any two or all three. The results of that search are going to go into search results. All right. Every time that we go and put something in, every time that we go and we put something in for our search criteria, it's going to go into keywords. And we're going to take that because it's going to be put in as a big string, like it was one big thing with a blank space between each one, between each word. But we're going to change that by putting it into an array so we can work with each element. So that was the first thing we did. Then we came in, we added a graduation year. So we added yet another property in here. We've got the ID, which we're filling up by using Nano ID. And in our seed data, we've got the first name, the last name, the email, and the image, which we've hard coded. And now we just hard coded in a graduation year for each one of the 10 people in our seed data. All right. Then we came in and we created a new routine called Save Students. And you can see right now it's gray, meaning this is never being called yet. So we're going to have to fix that in just a bit. All right. And when we save students, what we're doing is we're grabbing everybody we have, everybody, and we're calling set all students and we're calling set search results. So this is going to be before we've actually done the search. So what we want to make sure we're able to do is have an entire list of students so that when we do begin to search, we're searching everybody that's there. All right. Now, for that interface, which we built right before the break, that was in here. So again, we can say to search by first name, we can say to search by graduation year, either one. And then we've got a button in here as well. And like I said, I don't know if this is going to work or make it look worse, but I'll try to put in here a couple line breaks. See if that makes it look a little bit better. Maybe it'll make it look worse. I don't know. Yeah, it's not even moving that down much. All right. So I'd have to go in there and actually play with that. And I mean, I could play with this one too and move it down, etc. They don't look terrible the way they are. All right. They're okay. So I'm just going to leave them the way they are here. Get rid of this. So we built the interface. All right. But before we built the interface, and I really should have done it probably in the other order, but this was the code that we put in to search for a student. So when we're searching for a student, what are we doing? Well, we're creating this keywords array. So again, if I come in and I'm searching for a student, all right, so I come in there and I put in where it's got the thing, put in a first name or a last name, and I put in Vivita. And remember, Vivita, we had those errors, but she was in there. And then there was Joella, all right? And then let's say that I put in a graduation date of 2024. All right. This will find anyone with a first name or a last name of Vivita, anyone with a first name or last name of Joella, anyone with a graduation date of 2024. But this goes in as keywords. And it's equal to a string that has three things in it, but it's one variable. So we did that split and we took keywords and we changed it into a keywords array. And in the first element, we now have Vivita. And in the second element, we have Joella. And in the third element, we have 2024. So that's what we have right now. This is what we've been doing. This is what we've been working on in here. All right. So we've got this array that is originally empty. If there are keywords, meaning if we put something in one or more, we either put something in one of the search boxes or we put something in the other. So this keywords means that either we put something in here or we chose something from in here. All right. If we've chosen nothing, this is going to actually just say select grad year. That means that we haven't selected a graduation year. All right, we're going to fill this up in just a bit. All right. So as we come in here then and do this, what we're saying here is if keywords, meaning if they've entered something in either that text box or the drop down list, then we have to take it because they might have entered multiple things. All right, and we have to split it. So again, what I'm saying is if we came in here and put in Vivita, then we hit a space bar and we put in Joella, and then we came over here and let's say this was filled in and we chose from here 2024 and then click search students. Keywords is going to hold a string with this, and this in it. So keywords array will hold three different things. One of these, one of these, and one of these. The reason that we have to split it like that is we're going to be doing a search and there is nothing in here. There is no entity in here that looks like this. But there are several entities that look either like this and or like this and or like this. So that's why we've done, so far at least, that's why we've done what we've done. All right. So maybe that was a little bit long, but I just wanted to make sure, hopefully at least that people are understanding what we're doing and why we're doing it. All right. So when we left off, the reason that this is breaking right now is in this search students. All right. So I've already explained to you what's been happening in here. So we've got this if statement here that says, again, this says we have entered something. So we want to find our search results. How are we going to do that? Well, this is a built-in JavaScript array method that's called filter. When you filter, you can either filter things in or you can filter things out. What that means is if you filter things in, which is what we're going to be doing in here, all right, that means only grab the things that meet the criteria. In this case, a matching first name or a matching last name. All right. If we filter out, we will be saying, don't include those. So it's either later today or tomorrow, or I'm sorry, Monday probably, what we're going to do is we're going to add delete capability to this and we'll filter in then also. But when we filter for delete, we're going to filter things out. Whereas here, we're filtering things in. All right. Um, all right. Right now, again, we're having some problems. Some stuff isn't being called. Some stuff, this actually isn't complete yet. We're going to fix that in just a moment. All right, because right now, we're only checking first name and last name. We're not checking right now. We're not checking in here for the graduation year. And we're not even filling up the graduation year. So we're going to do all that in just a bit. All right. Okay. So we're going to come in here and we're going to go back up in here to our save students. All right. And in our save students right here, we've got set all students to students. Okay. But here, that's not really what we want here. All right. So we're going to take this and for now, at least, we're going to comment it out. And hopefully everything is going to work and work the way we want it to in just a couple minutes. All right. Now, the other thing we want to do is we want to go to our add students that we had in here that we worked on the other day. I don't know where that is. So there's our save, there's our search, there's our add student. Okay. So we want to go into this function. And this last line here says set all students to updated students. Well, now we don't want to call set all students anymore. We want to call this save students that we've set up before. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change that to save students. All right. And once we do that, you'll notice this won't be grayed out anymore. See that? It's not grayed out because we are now calling it. All right. Now it's time to come in and work with that graduation year because again, as of right now, you've already seen this. Oh, it's giving me errors. But when we bring this up, we'll have to fix that in just a minute. It's got import and export can only appear at the top level. Line 211 in app.js. So where's line 211 in here? Which says someplace in here I'm missing either a curly brace or a parenthesis. Okay, so we'll have to fix that. We will. All right. So let's start worrying about the graduation year. Now, unfortunately, JavaScript does not have a great way that we're able to sit there and go through our list of students and say, search every single one for the graduation year. All right. So we're going to have to use a built-in package that comes with JavaScript. So I'm going to type in here what that package is, which is called Lodash. All right. And I'm going to go out to lodash.com. Now, do I expect you to understand this? No, but let's look at what it says. Lodash is a modern JavaScript utility library delivering modularity, performance, and extras. What Lodash typically allows you to do is work with an array, be it a number array, a string array, or whatever, and be able to work with that array and eventually do filtering. So in other words, if I wanted to come in here, let's say, this is not the example they're showing, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 here. If I wanted to come in and find out what numbers in here were odd, okay, I could do that using Lodash. And it would come back and it would show me in here 1, 3. If I check for evens, it would show me 2, 4, etc. So we're going to use this Lodash right now. Now, when you use it, good, bad, indifferent, fortunately, unfortunately, notice it right here. They've got low and they've got an underscore. For whatever reason, when you use Lodash inside of, when you use Lodash inside of a program like this, you don't call it Lodash, you call it underscore. I don't know why, but that's just the way that they have set it up. So what I'm going to do, all right, is I'm going to come into my app.js file. And at the top of it up here, where I'm importing all this stuff, I'm going to also bring in Lodash. You can bring it in anywhere. I'll bring it right here. So I'm going to import underscore from Lodash. And all that means is that anything there is in Lodash is now going to be available to me in the program I'm working on. You'll notice if you look here, it says app.js and it's got 1 comma. So there is an error in this file right now. It's trying to tell me that it doesn't like something that's in here. And like I said, I'm fairly certain that what it doesn't like is I'm either missing a div, or I have too many divs, or I'm missing a curly brace somewhere. And that's why, because it's not recognizing this as being the end of my file. So when I put this stuff in here before, somehow I missed either a parenthesis or a curly brace. So I'm gonna have to figure out where that is. All right, but with that said, okay, right now in that, wherever the heck it was, in here, the only thing that we have in here is this. We don't have any other options. All right. The only thing that we have in there is, if you remember when we ran it, it's just a bar, so to speak, that says select grad year. And when you click on it, there's nothing inside. So we're going to put something inside right now. All right. And what we're going to do that is we're going to use Lodash. So we're going to keep everything that's here, but underneath this, we're going to come in and we're going to add some code. All right. Again, I'm going to write it over 3 lines and it's pretty ugly. But what it is supposed to do is after we put that in and after we run it, then what we're going to have, ideally at least, what we're going to have is in that drop-down list, it'll have every year that we put in here for a grad year, 2023, 2024, 2022, 2021, and 2020. It'll have all those in there. Plus, if we go in and add a new student, and let's say we put in 2025 for his or her graduation year, it'll add that to it right away as well. All right, so that's what we're looking to do right now. All right, and that'll be in here. Now, fortunately, unfortunately, whatever you want to say, when you work with Lodash, it's ugly. All right, and what I mean is we're going to do a map, and then inside of that map that we're going to put in right now, we're going to put in another map, because that's just the way that Lodash works. Let me put it in, and then we'll go through everything that's in here. So I'm going to put in a curly brace and hit enter. All right. And then start entering some stuff in here. Like I said, it's going to be over a few lines. So we're telling it we want it to map through everybody that we have, which should make sense, because if we're going to be putting in a graduation year, we're going to want to make sure we have all of those graduation years. And that's what we're saying here. All right, so let me go down a line. All right, now with what's in here, we've got, and I know there's a paren missing here, but we'll fix that right now. So we've got student.grad year. In fact, there is none missing. Okay. Sort.unique, and no, I didn't spell unique wrong, .map. In English, what this is saying is go through everything in all 10 of these. All right. But notice there's 2020, 2020, 2021, 2021. I don't want those listed twice find every unique occurrence. So it should find in here 2020, then 2021, then 2022, then 2023, then 2024, but only list them once. That's what this is saying to do. All right. We're not done yet, but we're getting there. Oh, where are you? All right. So that's the first part of it. Okay. But what we want to do then is we want to fill up that drop down list with the year. All right. So that's what we're doing here. Dot value. All right. It's giving me an error. We're going to fix it right now. But I want you to understand what this thing here is doing. Is it's going through our entire list of students. All right. And when it gets done going through that list of students, all right, what it's going to do then is it's going to come in and populate the drop down list. And it's going to populate the drop down list based on the values that we have in here. All right. And what this is right here, this is each year. That's the key. It's also the value. And this is the thing itself. This is not a mistake. I don't know why it's giving me an error. So I'm going to go through my code right now. All right. Select. Now, I'll have to debug this and debug the other error. But what's supposed to be happening now is if we run this, and I'm looking at my code, and believe it or not, it looks correct. All right. But what should happen, what should be happening then is it should be filling up. All right. It should be filling up the drop down list, and it should be filling it up with the years and with no repeats. All right. And I'm looking in here. All right. When you work, remember, this is a drop down list. We've used drop down list. You may remember, you may not. But for example, when we created an HTML form, we used a drop down list for the states. All right. And we did a select thing on the states. And when we were working with this stuff, okay, what we ended up putting in here were a list of key value pairs. The value was something like Missouri for a state. The key was like MO. Okay. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking this is incomplete. Select value equal grad year. That's fine. Class name equals this. That's fine. All right. But we have to come in and say on change. That means each time we change what we're grabbing in here. All right. The year that we're about to grab. So on change equal. Grad year, that is correct. Come in here and do the map. Students dot map. Paren student sort dot uniq dot map year option key equal year value equal year option dot value paren and this. And everything in here is correct. I don't know why it's giving me the error. This is weird syntax. Yeah, you have to put a dot value on the end there. Why? It's because that's the way that it's expecting it with Lodash. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the rest of the code. All right. There's not much left. Really, there's very little left. Now, one of the things that we can do is we can come up and where we were making that check before. All right. Now we should be able to come in and check also for the graduation year. Right. So we've got to do that. And there's a couple more changes that we have to make. Okay. We should have already come in here in our app.js. And we're going to add another hook in here where we're going to say const grad year, set grad year equals use state, and it'll be empty. All right, that's the first thing we want to do. Then in our search students function that we have, which is down here, right there. All right. Well, at the top, right after we do this, we're going to come in before we even check for the keywords array. All right. We want to come in and say, if there's a graduation year. So if we put something, if we chose something in that drop down. All right. So if there is a graduation year, what we want to do is say keywords array We want to add it to the array. We use push to add it. And we want grad year dot toString. All right. Now, that is everything. The problem is we've got 3 errors in here. All right. So it's my responsibility to go through all of my code and find out what those 3 errors are. All right. And rather than going on, I'm actually ready to go on because the next thing we have to put in here is the delete capability. All right. And that's not a lot of stuff to do, but I don't want to put that in until we can come in and test to make sure what we put in thus far actually works. All right. So even though again it's early, I'm going to stop the lecture here, fix this. And when we start up on Monday, I will have the working version of this. We're going to go through it from top to bottom. Then we're going to add the capability to do deleting a student. All right. After we do that, and it really doesn't take long. There's not a lot of code for that. We're going to go right into updating a student. So a student got married or divorced and changed their name, or a student maybe decided to graduate early or late so we can change their grad year, or they changed their email address. So we want to be able to change each and every one of those things. Plus, we'll do a little work probably on prettying this up a little bit. All right. After we get done with that, I'm going to show you how you could take a project, a React project, and put it out on the internet. All right, I'll grab one of the ones we did earlier and we'll put that out on the internet. There's different ways you can do it. Now, I just want to mention this to you, and I know I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again anyway. All right, and that is that I am working in here under the things that have been done by Mr. Gudmested. That's Evan right there. So I have been working off of his series of stuff. So if I go in here, all right, and I go in and look at his videos, in here someplace is his series of videos. The reason I'm telling you this, he's got 6 videos in there. The last video that he is using a package to put something out on the internet that no longer works. And what I mean is he is using a package to put stuff out on the internet that used to be free. It's called Heroku, Heroku. But about a year ago or half a year ago, the people who earned Heroku evidently weren't making enough money. So what they decided to do was they decided that instead they would charge people. Well, we don't want you to have to pay for anything. All right. So what I'm telling you is that playlist that he has of videos. All right. These things right here. Yeah, whatever. All right. These videos that he has, these are the 6. We've now gone over the first one. We've gone over the second one. We've gone over the third one, although there's a couple errors in here. On Monday, we're going to do this one. And if there's time, we'll even go into this one. All right. But this one that's right here is no longer works. So instead, what he did was he went out and found a free package, Google Cloud, where you're able to go and put a React application on. So next week, I will take an application and put it out on Google Cloud. All right. Hopefully that made at least a little bit of sense. So when we come in here on Monday, I'm going to have all my errors cleaned up, guaranteed. All right. After we clean up the errors, we're going to look at everything we've done thus far. Then we're going to jump in and do the delete. My guess is that'll take upwards of around an hour. Then we will go in and start doing the update. We probably won't finish it on Monday. We will finish it on Tuesday. And then after we finish it, our project should be finished. and I'm going to show you how to take a React site, not the one we're working on, but a different one. And I'm going to put it out on the internet for you using Google Cloud. All right. You are responsible. I don't know how many points this is going to be worth. I'm going to go and ask Evan and Doug how many points they made theirs worth. One thing that they're requiring their students to do that I'm not is they're making each of their students do a 15-minute long video on what they learned, didn't learn, and how to do this. I don't want you to have to do that. All right. But that's what we have to look forward to. So hopefully, either by Tuesday or by the latest Wednesday of next week, that'll be the last lecture. All right. Then the rest of next week and all of the following week will be lab time. And you've already heard this, but this is what you're going to have to do. All right. So those are the dates, and that's when everything is due. I'm going to fix the stuff that is not working right now, and that's where we'll pick it up on Monday. Again, I'm not here tomorrow, and if you do have questions, I will be checking my email intermittently. Okay, so have a good weekend, and I will talk to you on Monday. Thanks.